Smith gives Klein a card, which leads him to a specific establishment. He arrives to find a rowdy tavern where drunken patrons are brawling and placing bets. Klein approaches the bar and uses a secret code. The bartender demands to know who sent him. Upon hearing Smith's name, the bartender directs him to an elevator. This lift descends to a sophisticated office, the front for a security company. There, he meets the clerk, Roseanne. She recognizes his name immediately and leads him to the Nighthawks' secret headquarters. Then, Klein meets Leonard. Roseanne explains that while things are usually quiet, the Nighthawks' workload has surged over the past 2 days. She tells him about the different Beyonder pathways and advises him to meet with Captain Smith alone. Klein enters Smith's office and declares his decision to become a Beyonder. Consequently, Smith officially recruits him into the police's Special Operations Department. He expresses his confusion, having believed it was just a security company. Smith clarifies that the company is merely a front. In reality, they are the Nighthawks, operating under the authority of the Church of the Evernight Goddess, and their true purpose is to handle supernatural incidents. He warns Klein that after becoming a Nighthawk, he must be vigilant to avoid losing control of his newfound powers. Smith then leads Klein through a hall of remembrance, showing him the graves of all the companions who lost control and perished. Then he asks Klein about the myth of creation. Klein recounts the tale of a creator who rose from primordial chaos to bring the first ray of light. This being then formed everything in existence. Its eyes became the sun and the crimson moon, its body formed the land and the stars, its hair became the phoenixes, and its ears the demonic wolves. Smith confirms they all share the same origin and explains that humans can create potions from mystical ingredients to gain the powers of these divine pathways. Klein recalls the Hanged Man mentioning something similar, that there are 22 pathways in total. Smith elaborates that their church possesses the formulas for Sequence 9 potions of 4 pathways: the Sleepless, the Corpse Collector, the Mystery Prior, and the Seer. The Corpse Collector is well suited for self-defense, while the Mystery Prior and Seer are better for investigation than combat. Within the church, they can only provide the Sequence 9 potion for the Seer pathway. To make his choice, Klein must consult Old Neil, who will provide the necessary guidance. Klein leaves and contemplates his options. He needs knowledge about the world's mysteries, so the combat-oriented Sleepless and Corpse Collector pathways are not for him. He must choose between the Mystery Prior and the Seer. Klein finds Neil in the alchemy room, preoccupied with experiments. Before discussing the pathways, Neil tasks Klein with organizing some documents, observing him closely all the while. He mentions he's been trying to decode Emperor Rosel's book for years. Several of Rosel's notebooks vanished after his death, but the strange symbols in the remaining book are said to hold profound, mysterious powers. No one has successfully decoded them for 150 years. From his own efforts, he's deduced the book is actually Rosel's personal diary. When Klein glances at the pages, he understands the script instantly. It's written in Chinese, a language from his former world, Earth, and unknown in this one. He begins reading the pages and discovers they contain vast information about the potions, sparking a hope that he might find a way back home. The diary reveals Rosel's regret for not choosing the Seer or the Marauder pathway. Klein, however, doesn't understand the significance of this. Neil brings him back to the present. When Klein mentions he can read the diary, he laughs, believing it's an impossible task. After some discussion, Klein chooses the Seer pathway, following Roseanne's advice. Neil warns him to choose carefully, as once a potion is consumed, the pathway is set permanently. Klein confirms his decision. Neil prepares the potion, mixing various materials with a complex apparatus. As the concoction is finalized, Klein feels a wave of nervousness. Neil encourages him, stating hesitation will hinder the absorption process. Klein drinks the potion, and his body immediately begins to change. His vision blurs and the world distorts around him. Neil instructs him to focus his mind on a common everyday object. Klein thinks of a hat. Neil then tells him to visualize something that doesn't exist in this world. As Klein visualizes objects from his past life on Earth, the room begins to tremble violently. Neil urges him to control his spirituality and imagination. As Klein's mind conjures more images, the shaking intensifies. The world goes dark. Suddenly, a point of light gathers and shatters, and Klein's eyes fly open. He can now see the auras of the world around him. Neil congratulates him on becoming a seer and explains he is now using his spirit vision, which allows him to perceive things like a person's health. Then Klein sees two disembodied eyes watching him and alerts Neil. Neil dismisses it as a harmless magical representation of the ritual. A sharp pain pierces his head. Neil explains the danger. Overusing spirit vision can damage his spirituality and cause hallucinations. He teaches him a control method. If he loses his grip, a double tap between his eyebrows will toggle the ability on and off. Klein does so, and his spirit vision deactivates. Neil adds that his new spirituality can also be used for divination arts and hands him a set of demon hunting bullets. Afterwards, Klein meets with Smith. Neil has already informed the captain that Klein is adapting to his powers remarkably well. Smith tells him he'll start as a clerk before becoming an official Nighthawk and gives him an advance on his salary, instructing him to buy a cane for his daily tasks. Just as he steps outside, Leonard whisks him away in a carriage. He explains their first mission together. They've received a report of a kidnapping, and they must now locate the missing boy. Klein questions why Beyonders are handling a standard kidnapping case. Leonard reminds him that they are officially a security company, and the missing boy's father is a long-standing client. He gives Klein some of the boy's belongings and asks him to use his seer abilities to find him. Klein uses his power and a newly acquired dowsing rod, activating his spirit vision. He quickly locates the spot where the boy, Elliot, disappeared. By detecting the boy's spiritual residue, he tracks his location. The dowsing rod guides their carriage until they arrive at an old house. Klein's spirit vision confirms Elliot is inside, along with two kidnappers. Leonard shatters the door with his power and engages the kidnappers. He dispatches them with flamboyant style, leaving them incapacitated. Klein frees Elliot, but an invisible feather materializes and breaks apart. The two kidnappers begin to contort strangely. Leonard and Klein realize they are losing control and transforming into a monster. The two men fuse into a single grotesque creature. Leonard attacks, but the monster vanishes. Even Klein can't locate it initially. He then uses his dowsing rod to pinpoint its new position. As the monster lunges, Klein takes aim. He fires, but hesitates for a moment, as it's the first time he's ever shot a gun. The monster attempts to flee, but Leonard intervenes, trapping the creature in his own pocket dimension and putting it into a deep sleep. Suddenly, Klein feels a sense of déjà vu, a feeling that he, as the original client, has been here before. After returning the boy to his father, they investigate the house. Leonard teases Klein, saying he's taken a liking to him, which prompts a nervous Klein to retreat. Leonard is then seen speaking with an unseen party who had been observing Klein, concluding that he is not special after all. Klein returns home, only to find himself back in the haunted mansion. He enters the room where he felt the strange connection and finds a book on the desk. It contains a chilling message: everyone will die. At that moment, he has a vision of the full tarot card. The experience makes him realize that a clue to the lost Antigonus family notebook must be hidden near the kidnapping site. Sometime later, Klein and Melissa have moved into a new, much nicer home. Their brother Benson visits and is astonished by their new living situation. Klein, having learned to cook, prepares a meal for them. As a gift for his new job, Benson gives him a new set of clothes. Klein is overjoyed and thanks his brother and sister. As he looks at them, he sees the loving image of his parents smiling back at him. And with that, the episode ends.